Every week, I guarantee that my top 6 NFL picks on sides and totals will not generate a losing record. We picked up a 4-2 record last week, as shown on your screen right now. In this video, I will present 4 betting tips for week 10. Some of them are part of the top 6, while others are not. I'm Professor MJ, a former university statistics teacher turned into a full-time sports bettor and advisor. Are you ready to rock and roll? Let's get started right away! Let's skip my 10 best NFL pick of the week to get to number 9. This play is rated 1 star, which means I suggest wagering 0.5% of your bankroll on it. A quick reminder that, unlike hotel ratings, a 1-star play does not mean it's a crappy pick. Bets that are not profitable are rated 0 star, according to my grading system. In this case, my numbers are telling me it holds a slightly positive expected return. So, what is the play in question? I am betting the New England Patriots plus 6 points in Chicago. It never feels comfortable betting a team that owns a 2-7 record, but I'm going to do it anyway. To me, Drake May has done a very fine job thus far in his rookie season. He's clearly provided a spark to an offense that looked anemic with Jacoby Brissett under center. Brissett's best passing output was 168 yards through the air, which is a mark that May has exceeded in all 3 games that he played in full. In total, May has tossed 6 TD passes versus 4 interceptions, which is very decent for a rookie QB who faced tough defenses. The Jets twice, the Texans, the Titans, and also the Jaguars. The latter was the easiest matchup, and in that game, May recorded 2 touchdown passes with no pick. Sure, facing the Bears defense won't be easy. They have allowed the 5th lowest number of points per game. However, I still think we have a good chance to see New England covering the 6-point spread. They lost in overtime last week in Tennessee, after getting a win over the Jets in the prior week. Meanwhile, the Bears' offense has struggled recently. They scored just 9 points against Arizona last week, after putting just 15 on the board against an ordinary Washington defense. Caleb Williams showed good flashes over a 3-game stretch, but he's been fading of late. He has not tossed a TD pass in each of his past 2 outings, while observing a big drop in his passing yards per attempt. In fact, that figure was set at 5.3 and 5.5 in the past 2 games, while in previous weeks, that number stood at 7.8, 10.5, 6.8, and 7.0. That's a huge drop-off. It is also possible that the Bears look past this game. Squaring off against the Patriots is not nearly as exciting as their upcoming matches against the Packers, the Vikings, and the Lions, all 3 being division rivals. This betting tip is not rated higher for the following reason. New England will be on the road for the 3rd time in 4 weeks, including a long trip to London. Other than that, I like the Pats plus 6 at Soldier Field this weekend. Up next, my 8th best NFL bet of the week goes to the under in the Jets-Cardinals matchup. More precisely, I think less than 46.5 points will be scored in that game. The associated star rating is 2 stars out of 5. I am recommending to put 1% of your bankroll on this wager. It's very hard to throw the ball against the Jets defense. Right now, they are allowing the 2nd lowest passing yards per game. That means the Cardinals are likely to be forced to rely on their ground game a lot if they want to sustain some drives. When teams run more often, That's good news for people who bet the under, since it milks the clock more quickly. Let's take a look at the other side of the coin. What will the Jets do on offense? Aaron Rodgers has looked like a 40-year-old guy on numerous occasions this season. He's also been bothered by several injuries. Granted, he now has a great wide receiver duo with Garrett Wilson and Davante Adams. These two guys can provide big plays. For this bet to win, we need the Cards to avoid quick strikes. I think Arizona's defense will do everything they can to avoid that, keeping plays in front of them to force the Jets into long drives where they might make a costly mistake at some point. New York might elect to use their nice running back duo. Both Breece Hall and rookie Braylon Allen have looked good this season. The only problem has been the offensive line that is struggling to create holes for them. Honestly, I don't understand why this line is that high. Both offenses are decent but not great, while New York's defense has been stingy. As far as Arizona's defense is concerned, it has done a fine job recently, as shown by their 17 points allowed per game during the course of their past 3 contests. For these reasons, I am betting the under in the Jets-Cardinals meeting. Best bet number 7 for Week 10 in the NFL is as follows. The Houston Texans plus 3.5 against the powerful Detroit Lions. This play gets a 3-star rating, which means I am proposing to risk 2% of your bankroll on it. It would be difficult to find a more impressive NFL team than the Detroit Lions over recent weeks. Since Week 4, their offense has scored an average of 39.2 points. Wow! Their defense has also done a very fine job recently. Indeed, during the course of their past 4 matches, they have given up an average of 16.5 points, even though they face some good offenses like Green Bay and Minnesota. I do believe the Lions' offense is awesome, but I still have my doubts about their defense. Time will tell whether I'm right or wrong. Houston holds a big edge in terms of rest and recent traveling. In fact, the Texans are benefiting from 3 extra days of rest after playing last Thursday. On Detroit's side, did you know that they will be on the road for the 4th time in 5 weeks? They played in Dallas, in Minnesota, came back home before heading to Green Bay and now Houston. That's a very rough stretch for the Lions. I also like how Detroit could go through a letdown game after a big emotional road win at Lambeau Field last week. Meanwhile, Houston will be motivated to bounce back after a disappointing 21-13 loss to the Jets on primetime television. In that game, CJ Stroud completed just 11 of his 30 passes. He is a true professional, so I'm not worried about him. I'm sure he will come back with a solid performance. Based on the latest reports, stud wide receiver Nico Collins is on track to return from a hamstring injury, which would be a big boost for this offense. I also think the Texans have a good shot to cover the 3.5-point spread by using running back Joe Mixon to exploit a vulnerable Detroit run defense. On the surface, the Lions appear to be good at defending the run, since they are the 7th best in terms of rushing yards allowed per game. However, their opponents have been forced to throw very often, which makes the results biased. When you look at their yards per carry average, Detroit is the 6th worst defensive unit in the league. Based on all of these arguments, I strongly believe the Texans will either win the game straight up or lose the contest by a margin of 3 points or less. Give me Houston plus 3.5 here. We are now moving towards my second highest confidence bet of the week in the NFL. I have attributed a 5-star rating to this pick, which means I am putting 4% of my bankroll on it. I feel very strongly about the following prediction. The Rams will win the Monday night game against Miami. In other words, I am grabbing the money line on LA. Here is a NFL betting strategy that has brought me a lot of profit over the years and that very few people are aware of. Betting a team from the West Coast in a late primetime game whenever they are facing a club from the East Coast. What is the logic behind this betting angle? Science is supporting it. Let me explain. According to scientific reports, peak athletic performance occurs in late afternoon or early evening. When the game starts at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time, that is not optimal for a team coming from the East, since it is getting late. However, it corresponds to 4:15 p.m. body clock for Western teams, which is perfect timing for them. Some people tend to disregard this strategy, and that's okay. Personally, I have kept track of it during many years and it has done wonders for me. That's one of the reasons why I like the Rams to win outright against the Dolphins on Monday night. But that's not it. Miami will be on the road for the third time in the past 4 weeks. Meanwhile, it's incredible how the Rams did not have to travel a lot in recent weeks. Listen to this. LA stayed at home 4 weeks in a row before doing a short travel to Seattle, and now they are back to play in front of their home fans. Miami's chances of reaching the postseason suffered a crushing blow when they lost in Buffalo last week. Their spirits are probably not very high right now. On the other hand, the Rams picked up a huge win in Seattle last week, which brought them back to a 500 record. They have now won 3 consecutive games, so they are rolling. They have beaten solid opponents like the 49ers and the Vikings. I like Los Angeles to get the job done on Monday night, even though the return of Tua has provided a spark to Miami's offense. Let's try a quick experiment. So far this year, I've been selling every week my top 10 NFL picks on sides and totals for $49. This product always comes with a guarantee of performance. Indeed, you get fully refunded if the top 6 picks yield a negative record. While this gold NFL package has been very popular, I'd like to run the following test. What if I sold it at half price? Obviously, the number of sold packages will increase, but will it double or not? If the sales grow by more than 2 times, the new reduced price could become the norm. Otherwise, I'll leave it at $49 for the remainder of the season. If you guys jump on the 50% off offer, you could benefit from such a reduction for several weeks. All you need to do is follow the link below and enter the following discount code upon checkout. Week 10. That's it. I'm Professor MJ. I'm flying to Aruba for a family vacation, which I will enjoy even more after spending more than a week lying down in my bed after fracturing a rib. It will be good to spend some good time with my girlfriend and our 2 boys. I'll show you some clips from Aruba in the upcoming week in my daily videos presenting NHL, NBA, or NFL picks. Cheers guys, and don't forget to grab my exclusive gold NFL package containing my top 10 picks for week 10.